There we go. There we go. All right. I think we're good now. I went to go press the record button and then it just removed you.
Well, it's
But
good
I
that
hear
you,
you definitely sound less laggy now this time.
it's good that you at least try to record me when I was with John Isaacson for the first time. He forgot to record.
Oh,
Then,
oh no.
then we
So you
had
guys
to,
had to redo it?
yes, we did the whole thing all over again.
Wow. No. Dude, so this is a cool background. You have like you got everything there. Are those parts in the background like that you use or they're just like trophies?
These ones,
Yeah.
so these used to be really control panels
Uh-huh.
that I replaced. I just used the faces. And this is the diploma I gave to myself, the certificate of completion, because I completed. And this I got from John Isaacson. He used to have a sock competition,
Uh-huh.
for donating socks. So, so I didn't get the sock diploma
Yeah.
because I actually raised a lot of shoes, 1,030 pairs of shoes.
Oh wow.
But it was a sock competition, not a shoe competition.
That's funny.
And yeah, everything else is just to make me look good.
That's cool. So those are so do you have so what so Born to Repair, that's your equipment repair. Like what is it exactly that you do? So you repair equipment and then those are you also have machines that are your own like dehumidifiers and like restoration equipment?
Yeah, these are my rental DQs.
Okay. So you rent those out?
So I also rent equipment, but mostly I repair equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a mobile technician. I usually will go to other places to repair on the spot. Some people can drop off equipment right here. If they don't want me for some reason to go to their warehouse. And what else? I wrote articles for the magazines for CNR and for R&R.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to have a talk at the next experience. So if people want to come and listen, they're welcome. Are you coming to the experience?
Dude, I'm not, unfortunately. I have like it's only like me and two other people that work with me. So whenever I get jobs and stuff like that, like I'm the guy that's showing up right now, you know. So I'm not one of those owners that has like a whole team of people that can, run things while I'm gone yet. I'm working to that point, but the way it is right now, at least here at Drought Daddy, is like I'm the guy showing up, doing the work, doing the sales, and I have some helpers that come and go.
So you
But
have a restoration company?
yeah. So getting time off is a little tough.
Yeah, in this business, you have to be busy. If you are not busy, that means something is wrong.
Yes. Well, the business, so the like I don't know, I feel like the restoration industry is very much so feast or famine, you know? Like so I try to capitalize on it when it's busy, and then when it's slow, I'll try to draw up more work. So it feels like, when it's slow, you don't even when it's slow, I'm busy trying to get the brand out there and I mean even just like make content and stuff like that. So even when it's slow, I'm pretty busy still.
I get it.
But I need to get to one of the experiences because I've heard a lot of good things come out of that.
I've been going for the last few years, and every time I go, I found like new people to connect to. I found sometimes I find some new clients.
That's
For you,
awesome.
it's a little different because for me, my clients are restoration companies. For you, your clients are the general public. But You can go to the booths where they sell the equipment that is right behind you, and you can, talk to the people face to face, get to meet them,
Mm-hmm.
which is also helpful sometimes.
Yeah. So how did you get into the niche of repairing equipment? Like, were you ever in the field as a like working for a restoration company or?
Yeah, I was actually trying to open an appliance business,
Mm-hmm.
and my partner was taking too long to open a website, to start a website. So just to spend some time out of the house, because my wife, she was pissed off that I'm in the house too much. So I started working in a restoration company where they had a lot of broken stuff. So I taught myself how to repair the stuff because there was nothing online. And then my partner quit on me, so I was left there by myself, working in a restoration company.
Right.
When I understood how much it actually cost to repair equipment, I just gave him 2 weeks, and I started going door to door to tell people that I repair their equipment. That was, I believe, like 7 years ago.
Wow.
So since then, I opened my social media. Most people know me because of my social media because I'm so stupid.
Very nice.
Most people know me because of my social media, so they reach out to me. Some local people know me because just I showed up in their company, and that's pretty much it. So now I have like around 150 companies that I repaired that I
Wow.
repair in the area. So I service all of the San Diego area and the Los Angeles area sometimes.
Wow. That's awesome. You guys must have a lot of like restoration companies that are in that, like in the San Diego. I guess that's a big area though, right? Like San Diego's a pretty big city.
I think it's the 10th largest in the United States. I'm not sure. There's a lot of people here. I mean, you can look up the number, but most people I don't think are registered. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, how important is it for a restoration company to actually like maintain their machines? Like, what are the consequences as a like say for me example, like what are the consequences for me as a restoration owner if I just choose not to maintain the machine, meaning like I only change the filter of my dehumidifiers and scrubbers? Like what are the consequences of that?
Well, if you have one broken D here, it's not a biggie, but you can't use it anymore. You spent a lot of money on it, but now you can't use it to make money. So you have to put it aside. But then if another DQ is broken and then another, all of a sudden, a lot of your inventory will be broken. So then you want to be able to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend to repair equipment. When it comes to maintenance, like you asked, um, each manufacturer has their own like time limit where you're supposed to do maintenance to your equipment. So some companies will say it's like 1 year or 6 months. Every 6 months you have to maintain your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't recommend that most people maintain their own equipment. I actually recommend that people concentrate on preventative measures. So there's three major measures that the most people should take, I think. First is to keep the equipment clean. A lot of people they do demo in the same containment with their equipment as their equipment is running,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then the equipment sucks in a lot of dust. That's not good. The second measure is to change filters all the time and make sure that there's a good seal between the filter and the intake. Some models, I prefer not to mention which ones, but some models, when they come with the filter that you got when you bought it,
Yeah.
when you bought the equipment, it comes with a filter, and you put the filter in, and there's like a little gap
Yeah, and it wiggles and yeah, yeah, yeah.
That can be sealed with tape, like
Oh,
painter's
that's a
tape.
good idea.
Try not to do duct tape because it's very sticky, and when you take the duct tape off, it's like disgusting. But the painter's tape is perfect. The third measure that I always recommend is to separate between the garbage and the equipment itself. So if you do the demo, the job is done. A lot of people will put the equipment in the truck and then we'll put the garbage bag on top of the equipment.
I'm guilty of that.
Most are. So I recommend that if you don't have room in your truck to separate the two, then at least put like a plastic sheet between them.
Mm.
So the problem with the garbage bags is that it's full of like nails and screws and splinters. And the bags, it's inevitable that the bag will spill into the equipment. There's a certain type of models. One of them is right behind you, where there's like I'm not going to mention the name, right? So there's like a cabby on the top of the equipment,
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Yep.
and that will collect a lot of dirt and debris. So then you put it on a job site, it starts to vibrate, and
Mm.
everything will just trickle into the DQ.
Yeah.
So if you follow these three recommendations, then most likely you won't need maintenance. Most people are not experienced enough to know, once you take the equipment apart and when you put it back together again, the screws are not supposed to be over tightened. If you over tighten them, it creates problems in the future.
Yeah.
And most people are not experienced enough to know exactly how much to tighten the screws. If you want to like maintain them according to what it says in the manual, then you might end up making it worse.
Oh, wow.
So then you have to send the equipment out, which is very expensive. So I recommend precautions and not necessarily maintenance. I watched your video. So first of all, I want you to know I think it's very good that you are putting out these videos because nobody else is. But I have some suggestions, let's say.
Oh, yes. Give them to me.
So I personally don't like to use coil cleaners
Oh, really?
unless they are proved to be safe on dehumidifiers. A lot of coil cleaners are made for air conditioners.
Mm.
The issue is that the air conditioners don't have pumps. But when you use coil cleaners in a DHU, then all of those chemicals they will run through the pump, and they are very corrosive. So you might ruin your pump.
That's good to know. Yeah, because sometimes I'll spray the coil cleaner in there, and then the machine will purge, and you see the coil cleaner moving through the pump. That's a
Right.
very good point.
So usually people will use them on the condenser outside of the house, where you just
Mm.
spray it on and wash it off, and it just goes to the ground, but it
Yeah.
doesn't through a pump. So when you do it with dehues, you might ruin the pump.
Mm.
So I actually like to do either like a dry clean, so toothbrush, scrape it with a vacuum in the other hand, and you just suck it into the vacuum. Another option is the wet clean with just water. So if you let the DHU run a little, when it's opened, then it will all ice up. Then you turn it off. Then all of the ice will melt. And now you can wet clean with water and a toothbrush.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And if you don't want to do that for some reason, you can always take like a bottle and spray it with water. Always be careful when spraying because some models they have a relative humidity sensor like right on the coil or like right
Mm.
next to the coil. And if you spray water onto that, it will ruin it straight away.
Wow. That's the thing on the back of the one brand.
the one brand that we're not going to mention here. So
Yeah. How come you don't mention the brands? You just don't. You don't want to seem biased.
some people accused me for being biased, and so that's one reason.
Okay.
Like if I, so you know all of the Facebook groups, right? So if I
Yes.
post like one time I found I found that a lot of people started to use a certain brand that I won't mention, and a lot of people are biased against that brand. So I wrote a post. Hey, I've noticed a lot of people are starting to use this brand now, and I would barely see it before, but now I see it a lot. What do you guys think about it? And I got so much hate, so much hate.
I think I remember this.
And I tried to reply to the hate. I'm like, look, I don't have a preference to that brand. I'm not making money with that brand. And,
Right.
you know, I'm an authorized provider, but I'm an authorized provider with other brands too. So it's not like I have a preference to that brand. But people started telling me, hey, you work for them, you're biased
Ah.
to them. And I got so much hate, I couldn't reply to the comments fast enough. By the time I replied to one, I already got three hate more comments. So I just
Oh
ended
my
up
goodness.
deleting that post. And then I wrote a whole new post about how people are nasty in the group. And that one is probably still up. And the other reason is because I work with all of the brands, and I don't want them to be angry at me for, you know, having bias towards other brands. So another thing about your video that I watched, you sprayed disinfectant on the interior of the tissue.
Mhm.
So if there's electrical connections and like I said, the sensors that might be sensitive to humidity, when you spray like that, you might ruin something if the chemical is conductive.
Right.
So if you want to spray antibacterial products, I would recommend not to just, you know, on top of it, spray it like that. I would recommend to target the specific area that you want to target, like the sump, for example, because that collects a lot of slime.
Right.
Um, in general, I would completely avoid using products, because then you take it to somebody's home and they develop an allergy, and you don't know, is it the mold, is it the product that you used in the DQO?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I use Benefact, so it's the same stuff that we would use in the home more often than not. But lately, I've just been using like Simple Green,
Okay.
this the detergent.
So I don't have any biases towards any chemicals. I don't work with any chemicals.
Right.
I just, I don't want to be accused, as a service provider, I don't want to be accused that because of me, something happened to the homeowner.
Right.
So I just go through the safe route.
No, that makes so much sense. I try to stay on top of cleaning the machines because I feel like the machines are kind of an extension of you as a restoration company and as an owner. So like if your machines are dirty in people's homes, and the homeowner looks at that, are they going to have that thought where they're like, well, their machines are dirty. How do I know they're going to clean up the dirtiness in my walls, So
They
I try to
definitely,
work really
yeah,
hard to clean the machines and bring a clean presentation out of the gate.
they definitely think about,
Yeah.
and many people don't clean their machines, and if that's their choice, what can we do?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like you're busy and, sometimes I have a section in the shop which is like over there where all my dirty machines go. So like we bring them right into the door. We don't bring them this far back. Like these machines here are either like being serviced or they're clean and they're ready to go out the door. But all my dirty machines go in like a pile over there. And sometimes we're just so busy that like they do sit for a little bit, until they can get formally cleaned. But that's kind of like the process that we use here. One question that I have for you is, what is the lifetime of a dehumidifier? Is there like a set, you know how like with like your phones, like there's a set number of charges that phone will be able to have no matter what, you know? Is that the case for hours when it comes to a dehumidifier? Is there like a maximum number of hours that like no matter what you've done, once this machine exceeds this amount of hours, like the thing is considered toast, you know?
So that's a really good question, and a lot of people do ask me that. I've seen DQs that are 20 years old and more. I've seen DQs from the 2000s that are still working great. The DQs, they don't use batteries that get ruined like phones.
Mm-hmm.
So batteries have a lifespan. DQs basically do not. So it's all dependent on the quality of their build. Inside of the DQ, there's the coils and the compressor, and that's full of refrigerant.
Yeah.
And so when you lose that refrigerant, then in most cases, the repair will be too expensive to do. It will cost more than the value of the DQ. So that refrigerant should not escape. It's a sealed system, and it's captured. The refrigerant is captured in that system. It should never escape in theory.
Right.
But in practice, because the equipment is banged around, it also vibrates all the time. The copper tubes that are holding the refrigerant, or sometimes the compressor itself, they fail, physically fail. So they create like a crack, and then that refrigerant escapes. But just like other pieces of equipment that use refrigerant, like your refrigerator, everybody knows that the older your refrigerator is, the more likely it is to last longer. And that's because they used to make them stronger.
Right.
And I find that to be the same with DQs. So when companies grow, they try to reduce the expenses, and that affects the quality of the equipment. I've never seen a company that makes the HVAC system, better over time when it comes to longevity.
Right. That's a good point.
Efficiency or stuff like that, or cost. But when it comes to longevity, it is always a sacrifice. So I've seen DQs that die within the warranty period. That's good, because then the company will pay for that repair.
Right.
And in some places in the United States, they will actually replace the refrigerant, put in no refrigerant, or replace the compressor. Personally, I don't provide that service here. In California, labor is very high. And if you add labor to the materials and parts, then that makes the repair very expensive. In other parts of the country, labor is lower, and then you can do that for a better cost.
Now, we kind of touched on this when I messaged you the other day, but can any appliance repair technician work on these machines, or it has to be somebody who's very specific in restoration, like a certified tech by the dehumidifier company, or like an appliance technician who like maybe services like commercial grade refrigerators, or like would they be able to open up a DU for their first time and know pretty much how everything works?
Technically, any EPA certified technician with section 608 type 1 can repair DQs technically.
Right.
So that's the same certification that you need to repair a refrigerator. So it's the lowest grade of technician can do that. The only thing is when you call an appliance company, they will probably refuse the job, from my experience, just because they want a quick turnout. So they want to be in and out fast. so then they can collect a lot of money. You know, so
Right.
they want to do a lot of jobs in one day, and they don't want to learn, new pieces of equipment that they never dealt with before, because then there's the added time that it takes to create the connections with the manufacturer, to get the parts, to learn the diagrams. So technically it is possible. If you are a refrigerator technician, technically it is possible for them to repair DQs and to do a very good job at it too.
Right.
The question is, do they want to spend the time to, to make those connections? But, I came to this point from wanting to open an appliance company, appliance
Right.
company. In general, any person in your warehouse can start repairing equipment. As long as you are not touching the HVAC system itself, which I don't repair it either. So you don't really need a certification or anything like that. You can just do it. But if you are working on the equipment behind you, you might not be able to get parts directly from the factory itself, because you are not authorized provider, so you have to buy it from a third party. Usually the third party is the same company who sells the equipment, or the same company who sells your materials might be able to get also parts for you. So in the beginning, there might be a learning curve. As a business owner, do you want to let your warehouse manager spend the time on that? That's a question for you. I recommend for most people to know how to repair their own equipment, because if you send it to the repair shop in your area, you'll probably get screwed. Probably.
Yeah. I remember before John Don closed down, I worked at a Serve Pro for a brief time, and they had some pieces of machinery that they would like send to the John Don, and then we would pick it up. And I saw the invoice on one, and I was just like, "Holy cow, dude, this is crazy!" Like, but it's it's a skill, and I think the bigger outfits and whatnot, they can afford, they're not in the business of like repairing their machines. They're in the business of setting the machines and doing, demolition work and removing, that it gets into another kind of realm a little bit, maybe. I think that they all kind of, it's all relative and they merge together a little bit. But that's just me personally, but like the bigger companies, from a scalability standpoint, they don't want to get stuck messing around with machines, so they don't care sending it out and paying what it costs to fix them by somebody else.
If you're in the business of making money, which business is supposed to be, then reducing costs is a part of that. If you are a big enough company and you can afford a person who their job will be to repair equipment, and you have enough equipment to keep them busy, then it will significantly lower the costs. I have clients who spend tens of thousands a year in repairs.
Wow.
So reducing that cost, can really help, certain people. And that's a matter for the business owner to decide if they want to do that or not.
Right. Do you know of a time where a piece of machinery that was brought in by a restoration company jeopardized the homeowner's safety or health or well-being?
There's also regulations that require you to do certain repairs a certain way, for equipment that is made for wet jobs or water jobs. For example, if your ground breaks off of your plug, you're not supposed to replace the plug. You're supposed to replace the whole wire. I never heard of replacing a plug actually causing any damage. I have seen equipment that the plug was replaced in a very dangerous way. A simple plug replacement can be done horribly.
Wow.
If somebody is like in a rush or doesn't know what they are doing, or I don't know, it's just stupid. Some of them are just stupid, This can happen. I had a case of of a dehumidifier that I replaced the wire to a wire that had a GFCI on the wire. So this is a replacement wire that
Oh,
had
wow.
a GFCI on the wire. So basically, it's not a standard. It's not standard in this industry, but I really do recommend replacing wires with a wire that has a GFCI on it, because when the ground breaks, the GFCI will give you the protection from electrocution. So some people, they break the ground and then they take the piece of equipment to to the other job without a ground. And that could be very dangerous. I never heard of anybody, suffering from this, but it is a possibility.
Right.
So one time I replaced somebody's wire with a wire like this, and a year later, I got it back to be repaired because the GFCI was popping. Turned out one of the wires was rubbing against the compressor, and that stripped the insulation off of the wire, and it was just shorting against the compressor, and that tripped the GFCI. So if
Wow.
there was no GFCI on the wire, it could start a fire, but that's the worst case scenario. But what would definitely happen, it would trip the electric box.
Yeah.
So then the whole house would be down. Then if this happens in the middle of the night and your equipment is not running the whole night, then you go there the next day and then you notice that nothing was done,
Yeah, that would suck so bad.
especially if there's no like resident in the house or somebody that will tell you, hey, the electricity popped.
Right.
So luckily only that DQ was down, but the rest of the house was running.
Right.
So it wasn't a biggie. But stuff like this can happen. So that's
Mhm.
why I always recommend taking the extra precaution always, because even though stuff are unlikely, it doesn't mean it won't happen to you. Sometimes you'll be the story that everybody's talking about. Hey, this happened to that guy.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. So that GFCI that so that's something that you recommend putting on dehumid. Is there an extra wire that's involved in that when you wire them? Or is it just built it's just built into the cord?
So this side, I don't know if you can see. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
side is made to connect to most BQs.
Uh-huh.
And so basically, you're supposed to replace the whole wire according to OSHA regulation.
Yeah.
And so this GFCI is it's just built into the wire. You can actually disconnect it from the sides. So according to OSHA, you're not allowed to replace only the plug. So what's nice about having a GFCI is not only it gives you the extra protection. Next time you break the ground off, then you can just replace this little piece. You don't have to replace the whole thing. You don't have to open up the whole D. You figure out where
Right.
the wires go to. It's a quick fix next time. That is also significantly cheaper because it's a very short wire. It's just like 2 feet.
Yeah. I like that a lot. That's a really good recommendation because anytime there's a GFCI in the house, I always try to plug the equipment into that. But like sometimes I'm like, I wish that there was that extra measure like built on the DU themselves. I never thought about like having a cord that a GFCI cord like that hooked up to the DU. So then you don't even have to worry about there's always a GFCI with you.
And another thing you can do is connect to, if you don't have a GFCI on your wire, you can use like a air mover or scrubber that has a GFCI on it and connect to it.
Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah, because you can daisy chain those. Yeah.
Yes. just to make sure that you're not exceeding the recommended amps that are allowed on the GFCI, because that will pop the breaker or burn the GFCI.
There are, well, this might actually, this might be a little close to home on the other post, but I guess what are your thoughts ultimately on some of the Amazon package equipment that you can just order in bulk? You know, it's like $1,000 and you get everything that you need, right? Are those, so like, yes, those are lower tiers. Like we were talking about, like a lot of businesses, maybe especially guys starting out, they might not have a lot of money. That might seem enticing. My understanding of a lot of those like kits and packages is that those machines are cheap because they're not necessarily designed to be maintained over a long period of time. You know, the components in them are more throwaway components, right? So like once they break, it's kind of like you wouldn't replace it, you know. What are your thoughts on that? Is that it? Do you think that that's the case on the cheaper equipment?
So first of all, the way you phrase the question is great. I love it. The so also let's talk about the equipment that is behind you. Okay, when the control panel breaks, you have to replace it, but it's very expensive. When the pump breaks, you have to replace it. It's very expensive. So there's no distinction between, this pump and that pump, besides if you can get it or not, and for what cost.
Right.
Are the pumps available? Usually. Are other parts available? Usually. The question is if you know how to get them. Okay. Some brands are like pop-up brands. They will order order from a factory in China that is like these DQs over here. Okay, so these were ordered directly from a factory in China that will produce DQs in any color that you want and put whatever branding you want on it.
Right.
So when I want parts for these, I don't call the factory in China. I called the other guy who sells these DQs under a different name, and they have parts available. The Amazon type that you're talking about, they have a website that lists all of the parts, but a lot of repair shops will not repair them for some reason. It is possible to repair, but they just won't. So then you'll go to your regular repair shop that you go to all the time, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is there's no parts available for this." I've seen invoices from repair shops that actually say no parts available for DQs where there are parts available. They just don't, in that corporate environment, they don't want to do that for their own reasons.
Wow.
So if you repair your own equipment, if you want to investigate on your own where to replace the parts, those parts, where to and how to install them, I mean, it is possible to do that.
Okay.
When it comes to the quality of let's say the quality of the functionality of the equipment, let's say, okay, all of the models that I see behind you are labeled LGRs, right? They're labeled LGR dehumidifier. And this is something that I've spoken a lot about social media. I reached out to these companies. I reached out to the schools who teach about LGRs. And nobody is willing to engage with this conversation. Nobody is willing to engage with this conversation because if you check out the definition of what is LGR, then by definition, they're supposed to have a pre-cooling heat exchanger that cools the air before it gets into the evaporator. And in the restoration schools, they teach that LGRs are better. LGRs are better. Okay, so I'll see a post on social media. and somebody will ask, hey, is this Amazon brand good brand? And many of the comments will be like, these are not LGRs.
Right, right.
Well, guess what? All of the models that I see behind you, none of them have the heat exchanger. So the brands that make it have other models that have heat exchangers,
Right.
but they label all of their line as LGRs, even though many of them don't have the heat exchanger.
Wow.
And let me be clear about what's better with them. All they do is save you between 10 to 20% of the electrical use.
Oh, okay.
That's what they do. So they will give you better grains per day for the amps that they use.
Interesting.
So if you have a non-LGR, but increase the amps by 10 to 20%, now you have two equivalent DHUs. But now you have a DHU that is half the size and the weight is lower too. So you can put more of them in your truck too.
Right.
Because they are half the size. So you can stack them better. So my point is that there's a lot of propaganda in this industry. It's basically a copy paste from the sales pitch of the manufacturers of the equipment. So
Right.
so they actually teach in the school the sales pitch of the manufacturers as if it's science.
Wow.
And they don't tell you that, some DHUs that are labeled LGRs don't have a heat exchanger. Then people, go online looking for LGRs, and they're like, oh, these are not LGRs, I'm not getting those. But they're made for restoration just as much as the other brands are made for restoration.
Wow.
So they're repairable if you find a way, and they work for restoration just as much. They might not last as long because the build quality is lower, but when you consider the initial cost, and because businesses are made to make money, when you consider the initial cost, if you are no restoration owner, you want to buy your equipment for the first time. Do you want to spend $4,000 on every DHU when you can spend $800 on a DHU? Sorry. So let's say you have a budget, right? You have a budget of, let's say, $10,000, and you want to buy equipment for $10,000.
Yeah.
For those $10,000, if you buy cheap equipment, now you can take more jobs, you can make more money. Then if you want better equipment later on, you can buy better equipment later on.
Right.
Or you can continue buying cheap equipment and getting more jobs, taking more jobs. You don't have to decline jobs because you don't have enough equipment.
Right.
So there's advantages and disadvantages. I'm not saying that the expensive brands are bad, or that all they do is lie to you. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
In most cases, they will last longer, but I think that for every owner, with each owner has a different personality with different needs, and there's and they might have different preferences.
Yeah.
So not buying a piece of equipment just because somebody on a post said it's not LGR, it's not the best advice. That's what I'm saying.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, I've kind of noticed it's not necessarily like, like the kind of propaganda you talk about where it's kind of like both sides. Like there's two companies, right? Like it seems like that's like a lot of things that, go far beyond restoration, where like we're always like faced with like these two options, like Pepsi or Cola, or Coca-Cola. You know what I'm saying? I have kind of noticed that. And then you have like then you have like those two sides, and then you have like the third parties, which are like, or the third side, which are just like the Amazon kind of companies that spin up, right? And they're like, more affordable options or whatever. Uh, and so I've never, I don't know. I've wondered like, are those decent products out there? You know what I mean? Compared to the more expensive ones, because like I will say, as I've started to grow a little bit, the new machines do bottleneck us a little bit, because I'm always like, dang, like if I had a couple more machines, I didn't necessarily need to turn down that job, you know what I mean? Or I could have been more aggressive on getting that job because I knew we could support it, you know? Um, it's definitely not so much with like whenever there's like a big storm event, that's where like the bottlenecks really show in terms of your capacity with machines, you know? Um, so I've always wondered like, those what those lines are when it comes to the more expensive machines or the more affordable machines.
Well, you can always rent equipment.
That's true. I feel like the rental companies though, they at least the ones around me, they know that I don't know, I don't really like the attitude a lot of them have, like it's just and like they'll give you a stack of contracts that you have to sign, and it's like I don't even know what I'm signing when I you know what I mean. I've always just kind of approached it as like if I don't have the equipment for this job, maybe it's just not meant to be right now. I just got to focus on the jobs that I do have the equipment for, you know because I don't want to, I could see it's tempting to just get more equipment, set that equipment on jobs, and then you kind of know, well, I have that job, and the equipment, it's still drying, and you could get yourself spread thin pretty quick. So I like to think where we're at right now is, in terms of my capability of people on the team and equipment, where the equipment and people were equally matched right now. But I've seen it where like restoration companies, they have so much equipment compared to the manpower, and all that equipment is spread out on jobs, but they don't have the manpower to get to all those jobs. And so it becomes it's a process that becomes out of balance.
Yep. Running a restoration company is very tricky.
Yeah.
And and as a owner, these are issues that you have to think about.
So you mentioned you don't have locations in other places yet, but like if somebody was in maybe, for example, like North Carolina or something, and they wanted to work with you, they could send equipment to you somehow, or
So I'm a mobile technician and I will go everywhere.
oh, you'll go to them for the right
Uh,
price.
of course, it's not cheap, but
Well, that's cool,
yeah,
man.
I've been already in many places. So, so flying me out is a possibility. Sometimes it will be cheaper than sending to the local shop. I don't guarantee it. Um, Another option is to do a video call with me,
Uh-huh. Like we're doing now.
right? But in a video call, I'll basically guide you through your repairs, so you won't necessarily learn anything. You'll just be a tool that I use to repair your equipment. So I'll be like, okay, take the wrench and do this, and now do that,
That's
and
cool.
tell me if the light is on, and. And I've done a lot of those, and those are actually very successful many times, and also cheaper than sending your equipment out.
Right, 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 right.
To want to make a repairs person out of you, but at least you will learn something, but not everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Another option is I have a recorded seminar on my website. So if you want to learn the basics of repairs, you can go onto my website, borntorepairllc.com, and there's a recorded seminar over there. It doesn't have all of the models of the DHUs for every situation, but it will give you the main idea of what to look for and how to approach the repairs. Another option is to have like a in-person seminar with me. So then I'll fly to your warehouse and I'll teach you how to repair on your own equipment. So if you use a certain brand with a certain model, then you will definitely know everything that you need to know about that. Sorry, about that model.
That's awesome.
I end up doing a lot of that, a lot of those too. That's this is actually the completion. Sorry, this is actually the completion certificate. You know, for my seminar, for my in-person that I
That's
gave to
awesome. Sweet, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your Saturday to hop on the call, man. Yeah, it's cool that how you got into the repairing the machines and stuff like that. So, I love the machines. I don't know, it keeps me excited in restoration. It's like it feels like getting a new computer, you know, or like when you build a new PC or something. I'd like to think that we share the same fascination with them and whatnot. So
I believe a lot of people are interested, but they are just too busy doing other stuff.
yeah, or intimidated. I mean, I definitely have made some repairs where I'm like, I hope this works, and I plug it in.
Sometimes
And
you
I'm
just
like,
have to hope not to explode.
yeah, exactly.
Just make sure the plug is far away and you're like, cover your eye.
Sealed it. Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your day. Once again, thanks for coming on, and cool, man.
Thanks. Nice talking to you. Nice to
Yep,
finally talk to you.
exactly. If you're ever in Florida, let me know. Maybe we can try to link up.
Sounds good.
Or who knows, maybe I'll come up to the experience.
I'll be looking for you.